Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. I'm Reverend Theresa and I am so happy you're here with me this morning. Welcome to my living room and thank you for bringing me into yours. We have been doing this relationship now for over a year and it's pretty exciting to me. It really is. You know, I miss you and I know you miss our community and you miss coming together and our hugs and just the way we did things when we were meeting at the garden club. And I miss that too. But I also am just incredibly grateful for the connection that has continued, that was never severed, and for the classes that we've had, and for the deep sharing that we do on Zoom, and for the spiritual practices that we share together, and for this thing called life. I'm grateful for this thing called life. And so this morning we're continuing on with our month's theme of being open to possibilities, being open to infinite possibilities, to the highest idea for our lives. Pretty cool, huh? For the highest idea for our lives. And we're doing this by looking at the spiritual practice, the spiritual technology of visioning. And, even though we never saw this pandemic coming, we never saw this incredible change that happened for all of us, because of my practice of visioning, I was able to continue to trust that we were unfolding in the divine right way, right? I continued to trust that divine right order, that divine right orchestration, the divine right timing, and I will continue to do that as we begin to look at people being vaccinated and the possibilities of coming back together. But always and forever, no matter the direction, we are moving forward. Yes, we're moving forward in spirit, with spirit as our guide. And that's what spiritual commitment is. That's what a spiritual life is. And so today we're looking at the idea of being committed to our transformation, being committed to our spiritual life, to our spiritual transformation. And I'm going to suggest, as I've heard Reverend Temple Hayes say many times, that maybe the hokey pokey, putting your whole self is what it's all about. Right? Maybe that is what it's all about, is that we put our whole self in and we shake it all about. And that's what we're going to do this morning here together as we play this game called visioning. So I want you to drop in right now. Drop into that place within you where we know that we are divine beings, divine incarnations of the one, that there's only one thing ever happening, and it happens by means of each one of us, as the expression, as the portal. And knowing that, I simply ask right here and right now, what would Spirit have me know this day? Listen. Ask for yourself, first person, what would Spirit have me know this day? And listen. I know that I'm loved. And what I know for each one of us that is tuning into this program, whether it's right now live with us or coming back this evening, this afternoon, tomorrow, no matter what, there is no time in the mind of God. There is no separation in the mind of God. And I affirm for each one of us that exactly what it is that we want to know this day, that Spirit wants to raise our attention to this day, is done with ease and grace. Whether it's through the music, through a reading, through something just pops up in our minds. No matter how it comes, I trust that guidance from within. I trust it for myself. I trust it for this center. I trust it for each one of us. I have great trust in this thing called life and the wisdom and the guidance that is within me now. And so it is. All right. Well, I'm excited to tell you that our musician this morning, our music, is provided by my beloved, my husband, my love, our practitioner, one of our practitioners, and our music director. And so Bobby is sharing with you this morning some really awesome music. And here he is. Help me welcome Bobby Feber.
Thank you, Theresa. Thank you. Put your whole self in, put your whole self out, whole self in, and you shake it all about. You inspired me. I want to put my whole self in. This first song is from Melissa Felipe, Kicking and Screaming, the opposite of putting your whole self in. Ooh. I used to disown myself, I didn't know I was frightened. I wouldn't let myself be angry, it wasn't enlightened. Then my friend told me to really be free. I've got to be embracing every part of me. So even though sometimes it feels like pulling teeth, I go kicking and screaming down the path of transformation. My higher self and my dark side giving me my information. Learning to love every part of myself, even parts I'd hidden on the high shelf. Kicking and screaming down the path of transformation. I like to think of myself as wise, full of insight so rare. I think I really go with the flow and always will be there. I get to thinking I can handle any old change, then something new shows up and life gets rearranged. Suddenly I'm struggling, feeling so strange as I go kicking and screaming down the path of transformation. My higher self and my dark side giving me my information. Learning to love every part of myself, even parts I'd hidden on the high shelf. Kicking and screaming down the path of transformation. Sometimes it's a hard road, this working to become enlightened. Can't say it always makes me rejoice, but looking at the options, it's still my choice to go kicking and screaming down the path of transformation. My higher self and my dark side giving me my information. Learning to love every part of myself, even parts I'd hidden on the high shelf. Kicking and screaming down the path of transformation. I go kicking and screaming down the path of transformation. Kicking and screaming down the path of transformation. All right, and now to Rev G for the reading today.
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. So we are talking about visioning today, and Reverend Theresa said, gee, you could tell some agape stories since you probably did a lot of visioning there, or pick a reading. And I decided to do both. And so I'm going to read from Spiritual Liberation, book by Michael Bernard Beckwith. And I'm going to I will tell a short story of my own, and then I'm going to let Michael tell us a story. So this is the heading is The Practice and Power of Visioning. In 1986, when I founded the Agape International Spiritual Center, I did so applying a process I was developing at the time. This process is called the life visioning process. This process is equally effective in professional environments as it is in one's personal life. Spiritual integrity is a tangible energy that greatly impacts an organization. It is an agent of progress in an organization that taps into what wants to emerge as the next level of human expression. As much as we'd like to place spiritual organizations and houses of worship in a separate category, they are also businesses in that they must support themselves monetarily. Everything you'd expect from any business. There is no inconsistency with spirituality and the business of raising the money it takes to finance a spiritual organization. It is a matter of how this goal is achieved that is important. So beginning with a small group who shared my vision, we entered the inner laboratory of the life visioning process to receive input from the universe as to how we were to build a transformational spiritual center of diverse, like-minded individuals. We began by placing questions one at a time before divine intelligence. We asked, what is Spirit's vision of our spiritual community? We then entered into silence and through meditation became open, receptive to guidance. Afterwards, each person was asked to, in the circle, to share their insights. I just wanted, my quick story is the idea of using it outside of a spiritual setting. I had a couple of opportunities while I was still in Los Angeles to bring one of my Agape pals into organizations whose board I was participating on. And one of them, I was the president of the board, and the treasurer of the board and the executive director were not getting along. They just did not see eye to eye at all. In fact, I would say they came into the meeting mad at each other. And we did the visioning process. And they left the meeting walking with their arms around each other. Because what they discovered when they opened up to this bigger idea, not just their own, I'm going to say, little me ideas, they realized they both were talking the same language, but just using different words. And they wanted exactly the same thing for the organization. And for the next 4 or 5 years, they were like bosom buddies. I mean, they were like constantly finishing each other's sentences and things like that. So it really does work in all sorts of ways. That organization, by the way, went from a $200,000 budget to, last time I was involved, almost $6 million a year. So it works for that as well. Michael's story is, he says, when you realize that you may trust the fundamental goodness of the universe, it also means that you believe in possibilities, and infinite are the possibilities. In the summer of 1998, when the Agape International Spiritual Center was moving from one location to another, we had to renovate our new facility before we could occupy it. This meant both paying our new monthly lease and paying the hotel where we were renting their largest meeting room for our Wednesday and Sunday services while continuing to pay construction costs and staff salaries. The Board of Trustees and I were pressed against the financial ropes. Some board members felt that we lacked both the money and the time to meet the city's inspection deadlines and to open by the time of our 12th anniversary in November. It was a perfect situation in which to practice our conviction that Agape had a vision and mission that was divinely inspired and supported, and that funds to continue construction and paying salaries would be provided. During a pivotal board meeting, I asked each of the 8 members to give their unconditional consent to knowing that we would open the doors to our new sanctuary by our 12th anniversary. I said, I'm not asking if you think we can do this. I'm asking if it is possible that it can be done, that we can stay in the realm of such possibility. We don't have to know how, just if it is possible. He goes on to say, apparently this was more challenging for them than I anticipated. So to make the point, I got up and locked the door, adding, none of us are leaving the office until we sense that anything is possible. We arrived at a consensus. It was a possibility. We had 2 flyers printed, one saying we were going to discontinue our services at the hotel and close the doors until the construction was completed, and a second one announcing the opening of our new building in November. We agreed to send out the second flyer. 2 days flew by, and still there was no indication that we would raise enough money to complete the construction in order to open the sanctuary doors. We had already applied for a loan from a bank in our community with whom we didn't have a working relationship. On the 3rd day, we received a call from the bank. It seemed that the bank president noticed a loan officer reviewing a file and inquired about what he was studying so intensely. When he learned that Agape was applying for this loan, he said, "Beckwith? Give it to him." I didn't know this man personally. Next, our building contractor said he was so moved during our earlier board meeting, which he had attended, that he announced that he was going to double his construction crew and complete the work without pay in time for the city inspector to sign off on the job. We opened in November, albeit to cement floors and no air conditioning. Imagine our joy when thousands gathered to celebrate the inauguration of the new facility. And Deborah, my dear wife, and I were there that morning. It was a Saturday morning before the first Sunday service, and room that seats 1,500 people, concrete floors, dusty, and the whole thing. But we had thousands of people there blessing that facility. So stay in the realm of possibility, not what you and I think is possible, but what the universe believes is possible. Love and blessings. Thank you.
Wow. Wow. Thanks, Rev G. Thank you very much for that inspiration. Woo. This next song is called Let My Spirit Move by Andy Anderson. Sometimes when I find myself just holding on and afraid of letting go, don't allow myself to see the truth of my wholeness, oneness, and the greatness that I am. But when I look inside where truth resides, I know that I express all the love that I possess. And when I love myself just the way I am, I wake up to the truth and let it come shining through. Then I let my spirit move, just like the ocean that's on the move. Always moving in, moving out, never still, never stopping that flow of life. But when you look inside, just realize you can always express all the power that you possess, and then just love yourself just the way you are. You wake up to the truth, it'll come bursting through. Oh, I let my spirit keep on moving and have it speak. It keeps on shining in my life when I let it shine, shine, shine. So sometimes when you're into doubt, you're holding on, and afraid of letting go. Never allow yourself to see the truth of your wholeness, oneness, and the greatness that you are. But just look inside where love resides. You know you'll always express all the joy that you possess, and then just love yourself just the way you are. You wake up to the truth, let it come shining through, then just let your spirit move. You gotta let your spirit move. I let my spirit move. I just let my spirit move. Let your spirit move. Let your spirit move. You gotta let your spirit move. Let your spirit move.
Woo.
Now, Theresa. Thank you, Theresa.
Yay! Yay! Let your spirit. Were you moving? Were you moving and grooving? I hope so. I hope you were dancing with the kicking and screaming song too, huh? Oh my God, I love that song. I love this one. Melissa Felipe wrote the first one, and Andy Anderson, as Bobby said, this second one. And I've had the privilege of meeting both of these individuals. And love their work and them. Beautiful people. So this morning, we are wrapping up with the conversation of infinite possibilities and the spiritual practice of visioning. Well, wait a minute. We're not wrapping up with it, because how could we wrap up with something that's infinite? Right? Yeah, wait. How could there be an end to it? There's not. It's endless. It is endless. There are countless opportunities. I don't care how old you are. I don't care if you're 12, if you're 21, if you're 102. It doesn't matter. There are endless opportunities, countless experiences, potentialities far beyond what we've ever considered that are awaiting our recognition. And this is the spiritual practice of visioning. And a practice doesn't end either. People that are accomplished in their field don't forget their chops. I hear Bobby playing chords all the time. He exercises his voice. Guys in the NBA are still doing layups, right? I mean, this is it. We go to a deeper level of awareness, though. That's what we're doing, and it's a natural evolution. Michael Beckwith, as Rev G just explained, and I love those stories. Thank you. That Michael Beckwith designed this practice called visioning, and he says that there's a natural evolution of our spiritual growth. And I want to talk about that this morning. He also says in his book, Life Visioning, that the purpose of visioning is not simply about the narrow confines of personal fulfillment. It's not just about getting something or doing something or achieving something. It's an expansion of consciousness. An expansion of consciousness into the realization of your true self with the capital S, of who and what you really are and what you're here to do. He goes on in an interview in the Science Mind magazine to say that visioning is always for self-transformation. It's always about a shift in our perception, and that the process goes on forever. So we keep practicing the layouts, right? The layups. It's going to go on forever, and we're going to hit different milestones and that kind of thing. He says we just become bigger and bigger places for it to express through. Don't you love the possibility? I mean, I get so excited thinking about things like that, not knowing what's next. Not knowing what's next becomes very exciting when this is your paradigm, when this is the premise that you're operating from. So, visioning is about our personal transformation. And an interesting piece of that, as Rev G already indicated, is it can be used for our own personal life process, which is, what is Spirit's highest vision for our lives? And that's what we did last week in the Zoom when we did visioning, and we're going to do it again today. We'll do another process around that. But it can be for anything. Like he said, for a business. It can be for a project. It can be for remodeling your home, selling your home. Bobby and I visioned for both of those. It can be for a vacation. It can be for your relationships. We've visioned for our marriage. Maybe you don't have a committed relationship and you want one. You can vision for what is that? What do you need to let go of, and what do you need to become in order to allow that vision to unfold in your life? You open to a greater idea of what that is for a relationship. We'll be doing that for this beloved community, as I've already mentioned, for what's next. So whatever we vision for, though, it requires our commitment. It requires our commitment. We need to be committed to the vision. committed to our own personal transformation. When we receive that divine download, then it requires our participation. Are we going to release what it's suggesting, embrace what it's suggesting? Are we willing to do that? So we're going to look at those things today. The definition of commitment is the state or quality of being dedicated to a cause or an activity. Being dedicated to it, being devoted, being in alignment with, being faithful to. That's the kind of thing that we're talking about. And so everything, you think about this, everything that you've deemed worthwhile in your life required your commitment. Your education, college, a career, children, raising children, your retirement, wherever you are in that process of life, if you weren't committed to it, I suggest you probably don't feel successful in your level of achievement with it. Because what's worthwhile for us requires our commitment to be successful in it. And this is regardless of what we're talking about. Commitment in this sense is really like try and try again, right? It's doing our best each and every day. It's showing up. It's showing up. And when we forget or when we falter, it's getting back up. It's keeping on, keeping on, keeping on. And there's a conscious intention in that activity, in that action. And visioning requires our conscious attention. Our conscious attention on the voice within and its loving guidance. And we can do this in a formal setting, and we can do it in an informal way. And that's how we're committed to our transformation. And so let's look at this word transformation. It means conversion, change, renovation. It's a shift in our habitual thinking and our ways of being in the world. And so Michael's telling us that it's a natural evolution, this spiritual growth that we go through. And that what we learn builds on previous skills. And the important thing for us to keep in mind, for everyone to keep in mind, is that we are already connected to Source. We don't have to make that happen. And anybody, I've used this quote, I'm going to paraphrase it this morning, all month long, anybody that lives in close contact with the indwelling spirit can be a revealer of its truth in their own lives. I know this to be true. So Michael Beckwith talks about this natural evolution in the way of talking about the 4 stages of evolutionary growth. And he says, evolution, this process is the evolution of who and what we are as unique, individualized emanations of Source. He goes on to say it's an adventure. It's an adventure into your deepest self to discover there all the gifts and talents and skills and requisite qualities of consciousness that you already have. Not that you have to go out and build, but that you already have. You're set up for this vision. He goes on to say, so we can live the most excellent life. Yeah, a life of yes. A life of yes. Now, if you've been with me for a little over a year, you know how much I like saying yes to life. That was the theme of our installation, our first big hurrah when we said, yep, we're a community and I'm the minister and here's our practitioners and here's our board of directors, here's our members, and we celebrated saying yes to that vision. And that vision continues to unfold in an evolutionary way. Eastern religions primarily, but many religions, talk about this idea of freedom of the soul to express. And that's what visioning is about. It's about catching on to that idea of the greatest expression that we can be in this lifetime. Freedom, and it's not freedom from something, it's freedom to. It's freedom to, it's freedom for, it's freedom to express certain qualities. Like I said, we've already got these talents and these qualities within us that want to be called forth. So it's a freedom to create, it's a freedom to awaken, to live out our full potential, and to contribute our gifts to society, to contribute that which is possibly latent within us. So in his book, in Michael's book, he talks about these 4 stages, and I just kind of want to go through them with you for a minute. Stage 1 is that to me. He calls it victim consciousness. And he says that this is where victims believe that their life is controlled by external sources rather than self-choice or self-responsibility. Man, do I know that. That's where I was when I came into this teaching. And that's where I was. That's where I was. And so this idea then that one of the thoughts he says that we have there is, why does this always happen to me? Have you ever said that? Yeah, me too. But he says that then we start learning, wait a minute, and then we're propelled onto another stage by the opportunity to give up that blame. And shame. And I tell you, what was really big for me at that time was the idea that I was responsible for my life. So that's what catapulted me into the second stage, which he says is to it. So first stage is to me, second stage is to it. That's when we realize that there's a power for good in the universe, and I can use it. I can do spiritual practices such as visualization and affirmations, and I can direct my life. That's where we become into manifesting. Manifesting. He calls it the manifestor consciousness. Yeah. But there's something beyond that. And what starts to propel us into the next stage again, is this idea of surrender. This idea of letting go of control. See, we wanted control, and we saw that we could manifest things, but then we get to, I want to let that go. I want to let that go and see what else is beyond. Because that's a false sense of power if I'm not truly plugged in. So this third stage is about really plugging in. It's the through me thinking. And he calls this channel consciousness. And here's where we're practicing visioning, meditation, spiritual mind treatment. See, we're including and carrying on these ideas of affirmation, but in spiritual mind treatment, we're aligning with a higher truth, right? So he says channelers are aware of being a vehicle of spirit and live from this sense of ultimate surrender. That's the use me. Use me. Use me for your divine purpose. It's a really freeing place to be. This is where God expresses in, as, and through me, because I know it is me. Yes? But there's something else. There's a fourth stage. And he says, that's living as me. That's being consciousness. Being consciousness. Yeah. I am one with God in all things. There's limitless power and opportunity in that. And this has been my journey, this evolutionary, these growth stages, and they're not just completely linear. You kind of float back and forth. And wherever you find yourself is perfect. It's simply perfect. The key really is not what level you're at, not what stage you're at, but the level of your commitment. That's what's key, is the level of your commitment. I want to give you an analogy of a garden hose. The garden hose is plugged into the wall. It's plugged into the spigot, and the spigot is turned on, and that water is there full force. The spigot is source. It's the source of life. And it's always turned on, and it's always flowing. And And how much water comes out at the other end, though, is determined on where that hose, how that hose is aligned, and what obstacles there might be in that flow for that water to come out, right? Because there could be just a little trickle down at the other end of the hose. Yeah, it might be dribbling. So our spiritual work is to align, to straighten our hose, to align and to remove the obstacles that would clog that flow. We do nothing at the spigot. We do nothing to the source. But maybe have faith and trust and confidence to keep going. You know, mystics have always told us about the dark night, about the gifts on the other side of the dark night of the soul. I submit that this pandemic has been a dark night, a collective dark night of the soul. And you may have had some personal darkness during this time as well. Have we tied a knot in the hose, though? Have we? See, there's a difference in the way we confront these darknesses. And we want to look at that. Commitment is being dedicated, right? Having faith in and knowing that the spigot is turned on. That's commitment. That's being commitment to releasing those obstacles. And if it's difficult, that's what our practitioners are here for you for. They're here for this very purpose. And that's being full in. You know, hokey pokey, being full in. Because there's a great difference between being interested in your spirituality and being committed to your spirituality. There's a great difference there. You know, when you bang up against difficulties, when you are uncomfortable about something in your life, what do? Observe yourself. Ask yourself, what do you do? Are you in a place of acceptance and non-resistance and looking for the solution? Or are you fighting it? That's our level of willingness, and our success, our growth, depends on that within us. If you're just merely interested in your spirituality, in your growth, you'll find an escape. You'll find an excuse. You'll stay in blame. But if you're committed, you'll find a solution. You're willing to work through whatever that darkness is. Bob Proctor said, people interested in doing something will do it when it's convenient. People who are committed will do it no matter what. I shared last week some of my experience with visioning. And when I got that download to start this spiritual community here in Sarasota, where Bobby and I had already been attending another spiritual community, I fought against that idea. And there were many, many really valid reasons for me to do so. And I spent time looking in other areas. Oh no, we probably want to go here and do that and do this, and no, it's going to look like this and that. And one day, envisioning, it hit me so clearly. I was sobbing. I can't not do this. I did not know why, but I knew it. I can't not do this. If I say no to this, it's so strong in me. I'm seeing these pictures. I'm feeling this urge. It's so strong to me. I'm saying no to God. I'm saying no to that expression that wants to come through me. I'll be sick. Something bad's going to happen. It was so powerful. I just knew I couldn't say no. And man, I'm so glad I didn't. And from that moment, everything was so easy, and I talked about that last week. I'm committed. I'm absolutely committed. I'm committed to this community. I'm committed to my own spiritual growth. But it doesn't mean that I do everything perfectly all the time, in every situation. But I keep showing up, right? I want to give you another example from my spiritual life. I've talked about us being in this remodeling, and we're seeing the end of the remodeling tunnel. And then last week we had an episode of a noisy wall, of a noise, a scratching, a clawing, a climbing, a falling in our wall on our bedroom side. And then an hour or so later in the hallway, scratchy, clawy. Anyway, we discovered rats and multiple entrance holes, and we maybe got them somewhat closed up while these guys were out to lunch. But now we're not hearing the noisy guests, but we have an infestation of fleas. Am I treating? Yes, you bet I am. You bet I am. Am I visualizing them outside playing freely? Yeah, you bet I am. Not before I was cussing and crying, though. Sorry to admit. But I regrouped quickly, mainly because of my practitioner husband. And that support was necessary for me in the moment. So my upset was really short-lived because of our practices, because of our commitment. We all need to be, I'm saying need, you should. I say that because I love you. Be committed to your life. Anything that you're working on, that you're doing in your life, your relationships, your marriage, your parenting skills, your careers, your weight loss, whatever it is. I've got another example for you. I got my COVID shot this week, my first COVID shot. And when I confirmed my appointment on the phone, I hung up the phone and there was some kind of pride or patriotism that I was feeling, which is really kind of unusual for me. I really wasn't sure. I had to sit with, what am I feeling in my body right now? But it was an excitement. And some of you may understand completely what I'm saying. And others of you might be on the fence or have decided against getting the vaccine. For me, very early on, intuitively, I knew I would do everything I could to be in alignment with what was coming to me as my way to help this pandemic move along so that we can, quote, get back to normal. And so intuitively, all along, this has been what's going on for me. And so I have no fear around the vaccine. I actually had this surprising sense of excitement. So anyway, I'm driving to Sarasota Square Mall. If you've been there to get your vaccine, you know what I'm saying. I was blown away with how many people were there. Holy cow, blown away. And as I get out of my car and I walk inside, I see all these lines of people, and they're people in masks and people with vests and badges and directions, and it was kind of like the meeting of Disney and military and Soylent Green. I don't know. It was a little crazy for me. I was a little spooked by it all. It wasn't something I was terribly comfortable in that moment when it hit me. And I said, wait a minute. What's your intention for being here? Where's your intentionality right now? What are you committed to? And as I'm walking to my place in line, I'm looking at the other people and I'm seeing that they're there for the same reason, and that we're all doing our best to contribute to the health and the wholeness of our entire planet. Whoa, we are in fact in alignment with the health and wholeness of the Divine One right here and right now. It's expressing outwardly. Look at the love and the unity and the joy and oneness. I saw people happy. I saw volunteers joyful. And my experience changed on the dime. Just changed like that. So I just want to mention for you to think about fear and trust and paradigms and kind of figure out where you are in there. Many people, this is from Raymond Charles Barker, The Power of Decision, awesome book. He says that many people profess a belief in God and proclaim their religious affiliations, but deep down, there's no spiritual conviction, commitment. And he says, we are the expression, projection, and manifestation of a larger idea, with a capital I, a larger idea. And evolution explains the development of man, but not the causation of man. What's the cause? There is an urge and a surge within us to express, to be love, to be joy, to be the very best expression of the divine one that we can be. What caused Bach's music? Shakespeare's plays? It's the same thing that's in you that wants to express, that wants to dance, that wants to play, that wants to create in, as, and through you. You are a vehicle for this expression, for spirit. So I want to ask you, what do you do at the first sign of illness? Do you panic? Or do you go to health? What are you committed to? If you feel yourself going in the opposite direction, what are you committed to? When you hear news of mass shootings, children at the border, terrorists at the border, war with Russia, with China, whatever the news du jour is, what do? Panic, fear, faith, truth, oneness, a mixture of it all? What are you committed to? I know what I'm committed to, even though sometimes I need to be reminded. I want you to ask yourself if you believe that the universe is a loving and supportive place, if the universe is friendly. To ask yourself what you're committed to. To ask if you're committed to your spiritual growth. To ask, am I dedicated, devoted, am I willing to release what comes to me envisioning to release? Am I willing to embrace what comes to me envisioning to embrace? And what does this willingness require of me? So closing out this month's conversation, I want you to remember these things. That visioning is about what Michael Beckwith says is seeing the invisible and hearing the inaudible. And that our spiritual work is in the release, is letting go of what is constricting that free flow of spirit in our lives, because the vision is already completed in the mind of God. Everything you need is already given. We need to be acceptable, willing, rest in that awareness in an open and receptive way. And may you be committed to your transformation. I love you. I love you. Thank you for being here with me. And here's Bobby to sing one of my absolute favorite songs.
Oh, thank you, Theresa. Thank you, Theresa. So Ricky Byers, a song called Use Me. Use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. I used to think God was the sun, God is the sun, but God's so much more than the earth or the stars or all of creation. God is creator, all in all, and God needs us to shine its light as me. As you so use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Command my hands, what must they do? Command my life, it's here for you. God is the love that heals all creation. God is creator, makes all things new. And God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. And God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light. God needs us to shine its light as me, as you. So use me, oh God, I stand for you, and here I'll abide as you show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do. Show me all that I must do.
Boy, I'm having a moment here. I could. You guys got another hour. I could do a couple of talks here, but that's not what I'm here for. I do want to point out one thing. Reverend Theresa talked about those 4 phases: the to me, by me, through me, and as me. And in her story, she demonstrated exactly what Michael Beckwith talks about as the key, and that is mastery of those 4 phases, knowing when you fall momentarily into that to me victim place and recognizing it quickly and moving back up to a higher level of consciousness, or actually using that by me manifester to create something for a moment, but doing it with that higher level of the through me and as me consciousness. So just relax into that and think about it, just that recognition. And I think the same thing applies when we look at a practice such as the offertory, because we're giving from a space that is a different space. It's not the common space. Now, some of us have had the practice for a long time, and some of us have not. If it's new for you, it's move out of that and be into the place of possibility, knowing that you can give from what you've already received, knowing that, as Reverend Theresa talked about, the hose, the supply, has been turned on by the infinite, and we don't influence that. We just influence whether it flows or not through our lives. And by giving, we allow it to flow. So allow it to flow to support this wonderful Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast and all the work that Reverend Theresa and Bobby and everyone else has been doing. And just know that as we support them, it will grow and grow and grow. Our community will thrive, and the love and the blessings and all that benefit will come to each and every one of us. So I take a moment to simply bless the giver and bless the gift, knowing that as we give from the abundance that we have already received, that we will receive more, and that our gifts will be turned into powerful ministry, reflected as that Center for Spiritual Living Cultural Coast. And so it is. Thank you all.
Oh, thank you, Rev G. Thank you so much. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on. I receive the gift of life and pass it on. I receive the gift of love and pass it on. I receive the gift of joy and pass it on. I receive all good and pass it on.
Thank you. Oh my gosh, I've loved Bobby's rendition of these songs this morning. I'm so grateful for you, my love, and grateful to have Reverend Emile Gauvreau on our team here. Just really thrilled with life. As I think I said in the very beginning, I have a few really quick announcements for you. First thing to know is if you're interested in these announcements and you want to be plugged into all that's going on, you need to be receiving our weekly email. It comes out on Thursday mornings, and if you receive them, because like 400 people do, you need to open them too, and that would be a level of commitment. Just FYI. So here's a few things I want to tell you. Hector, our beloved Hector, is going to do a gathering, an in-person, let's get together and chat kind of thing at the Sarasota Bayfront this coming Saturday at 11 o'clock. You bring your chair and blah, blah, blah. I'm not going to tell you what the blah, blah, blah is. You need to read the email. The information's in there. Next Sunday is Easter Sunday, and it's also the first Sunday of the month, so it's our contemplative service, and we have a very special guest who will be with us. I'll go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. It's beloved. It's our beloved heart song. I'm so thrilled to connect with her and to bring her all the way from Oregon for you. And then also the link for Julie Birch's Thursday night meditation. All that is in the e-blast that comes out on Thursday mornings. Go to our website, CSLCulturalcoast.org. Scroll down, sign up for that newsletter. Today we're going to vision again. So join us. I'm going to post the link right now, and come on, and we're going to have a little bit of sharing, and then we'll vision again for your life's purpose. And thanks for being here. I love you. I love you. Let's close it out.
That Zoom social time right after the service, that's what we're going to do. We're going to vision, so don't miss it. And if you need prayer support, please email prayer@cslculturalcoast.org. We're going to finish up with a song called Infinite Possibilities by Melissa Felipe. You and I, we all are one, made up of the love through all creation. There is an endless supply of the power that brings us here. And when we harness that light, you know nothing can stop us now. Yeah, anything can happen right here. So open your heart and start believing. The only limit is your mind. You can have everything. Let's go beyond fantasy, heavenly, 'cause we're living in a world of infinite possibilities, knowing who we are, spirit of pure divinity, manifesting our dreams, stepping into the mystery, 'cause we're living in a world of possibilities. Come on, step into the limitless who you are. Follow the path that leads to freedom. You only need to let it be, 'cause everything's there within. You know expansion is a natural thing, 'cause we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. Knowing who we are, spirit of pure divinity, manifesting our dreams, stepping into the mystery, 'cause we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. Knowing who we are, spirit of pure divinity, manifesting our dreams, stepping into the mystery, 'cause we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. Yes, we are.
Okay, I'm having a little bit of trouble. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of trouble getting cutting and pasting and getting the link in there for some reason this morning. If you can go to the e-blast from Thursday, the link is in there, and I'll keep trying. All right, see you in a minute.
We'll get it posted.